Hey guys, welcome to the Knot of the Week. Today we are going to be continuing our DIY knot board display, and I will teach you how to tie the figure eight and a few variations. All right, the first step in tying a figure eight is to grab the working end. So this is the working end of your line here, and you're going to form a bite or a bend in the rope like this. And that bite is what you use to form off the figure eight on. So you're going to take your working end and you're going to cross over the line, just like this. You're going to come around the back side and then through the top of that bite that you just created. And there's your figure eight. So once again, working end, form a bite, round, back, and through the top. And that is your quintessential figure eight. The reason that figure eights are used in climbing so much is they maintain more of their weight rating than a lot of other knots that people use in climbing. So this is to say it is a stronger knot, and I would argue that it is, because if you were to look at the weight rating on this, once you tie any bend or knot or put anything into that rope other than the rope itself, it starts to degrade its strength. So the figure eight is known as one of the knots that will degrade the less. So it degrades only between 20 and 25% of the overall weight rating, which sounds like a lot, but compared to a lot of other knots, that's actually quite a bit better. So that's why the figure eight is preferred in a lot of climbing. So the way that you can do that with a climbing knot is that if you were to come around a harness like so. So if this stack of rope represented your rope on a top rope scenario, so this was fed back around to a belayer or something like that, you can tie the figure eight in a piece of rope like this. Get a little more slack here. So once you have that initial figure eight like this, you can take this working end and put it through a harness and then trace it back through. So this is called a figure eight trace through. You would take the working end now and you would just follow or mimic the pattern of the rope as it comes through backwards, essentially. So you're going to go right here, and again, the easy way to remember this is that you're just following that rope around. So I'm going to come back here, pull a little slack so I can come here, and I'm just tracing exactly where this rope came from. So the way I like to do this too is when I'm tracing, I like to give myself a visual pattern, and that's one of the great things about a figure eight when you're using it in climbing, is that you can actually give yourself that pattern. I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit and show you what I mean here. So once the lines all kind of lay in the right direction here, and I've got a little bit of a twist in there, but you'll still kind of understand what I'm saying. So this is a very flat looking pattern that follows the pattern around in the same direction. So it's very easy to check this and make sure that you've done this correctly just by looking at the pattern. And I like to try to keep it flat, but obviously you still need to keep it tight as you can if you're using it for something like this. And then you would want more slack on the end. So let me actually do that real quick. I'm going to pull more slack through the line. And again, we'll do those trace through. Try to follow this the right way this time so it looks a little cleaner. So once you're done at the end of this, and you've got your slack or your working end that's hanging out here, it's always good to back up this line too. So that can be done with basically a fisherman's knot is the way that I like to do it here. And we can work on this knot at a later time, but I'm just kind of illustrating the fact that you can back this up quickly. Just like that, and then you'll have a backup for that. you would actually really want the backup a little lower, more closer to this, because the idea of a backup is if something slips through, it still has something to catch within the pattern. So that's a figure 8 follow through. That's another way that you can tie a figure 8. And then the final thing that I wanted to just briefly talk about is that a figure 8 can also be used to join two lines of equal thickness too. So if I were to leave this figure 8 in the line here, take my other working end, and just like we trace through on that threaded figure 8, you're going to be doing the same thing with that other line. So if you can just imagine this piece of rope I'm working with here is two different ropes, you would basically do that same figure 8 follow through idea in this. And this one, it really, if you're joining two ropes, it's really not important to kind of keep that pattern as closely together as I was before. But you would just do this, and now you've got your two lines joined. And I know we have a loop here, but that's a great way to join two lines together with the figure 8. So let's take a look at just the little DIY knot board display that I've been building. So you can see I've now got my little figure 8 done, and that's what we're going to use for the knot board display. Again, I'm just using a cloth line that we picked up that I'm kind of putting heat shrink at the end of, and that's kind of what I'm basing all this on. Someone sent me a pretty good knot board display the other day, and it had a cool outlined edge that had some alpine butterfly knots on each side, so I'd like to start doing that too, and maybe we'll take a look at that in the next couple of videos. Hey guys, thanks for watching the Knot of the Week. Remember to please subscribe on YouTube. If you're looking at our videos right now, there's a little bell too that you can ring to get notifications. Thanks for watching.